Dear students, in our previous class we discussed that the meaning of freedom for Nelson Mandela was quite different. Initially, he thought that freedom means to go wherever a person likes to go, to read whatever a person likes to read. Okay? But later on, he understood the true meaning of freedom. Let's continue. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers and sisters. Here, brothers and sister means the people of his community. They were also not free. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed. Curtailed means reduced, or we can say that the black people, as they were deprived of their basic rights and also the political rights. So here he talks about that freedom. Okay, that it was also curtailed, but the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. And it was not only his freedom, but it was of all the people whom he knew. Okay, that is when I joined the African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom. Here he means to say that when he joined, by the time he joined the African National Congress, this is a political party, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom. And that time his freedom was the freedom of his people, means he wanted to liberate all his people from the we can say that here, from the domination of white skinned people, because the white skinned people dominated the black skinned people in South Africa and they kept them aloof. Okay, so he says, it was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity and self respect that animated my life. He says that the desire for the freedom of his people means he had a great desire to free his people and their lives with dignity and self respect, and to allow them to live their life with dignity and with self respect. And it animated. Animated means here energized. It energized his life, that transformed a frightened young man into a bold one. And this feeling changed. Transformed means changed. A frightened means a fearful man, young man, into a bold, a courageous person. And here he talks about himself. Okay, means when he desired to free each and everybody in South Africa who were considered black people, this energized him and he changed himself from a frightened young man into a bold one. That drove a law abiding attorney to become a criminal. Here, law abiding attorney means a person who follows the laws. And earlier, he used to follow each and every guidance of the government. Later, became a criminal means because he started voicing, he started raising his voice against the apartheid policies. That's why the white skinned people, they kept him in the prison and he became a criminal. Okay, that turned a family loving husband into a man without a home, and it resulted him into a person without home because he was sent to jail. That forced a life loving man to live like a monk, and also a person who earlier used to love his life, love his family, turned him into a monk. Monk means a saint, a person without any family, because he was separated from his family in order to free his people of his country. And I am no more virtuous or self sacrificing than the next man. And he says that every man was there virtuous, okay, or self sacrificing. But I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed. And he also found that he could not even enjoy that poor and limited freedoms that was allowed him when I knew, means when he knew my people were not free. And that time he found that the freedom which he was enjoying were limited freedoms, because he found that his people were not free. they were also suffering, and they suffered poverty, deprivation, and other kind of discrimination by the white skinned people. Freedom is indivisible. Indivisible means uh, we cannot divide it. Okay, freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. He means to say that if a person in his country is not free, it means all the people are not free, because he is not free and freedom is indivisible. We cannot divide freedom. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. And he also says that if my people are chained means not free, they are slave. They are the slave of white skinned people. It means he considered himself also a slave. Okay. I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. Here, oppressor means a person who exploits other people, and who are oppressed, the people who are exploited. So he says that both are not free. Liberated means free. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner. He says that even an oppressor is also a prisoner, because he is also not free, and he is not free because he exploits other people. Okay, that's why somehow he is also not free. And a man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred, because he is in the prison of hatred. The people whom he or she oppressed, they hate the person. That's why he is also not free. He is in the chain of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice. Prejudice means a strong dislike and narrow mindedness, because the people whom he or she considered uh, here considered uh, of a low dignity, means that we can say that in South Africa the people, they were considered of low dignity because they were deprived of their rights there. Okay, so the oppressor is in prison of the hatred of those people who are oppressed. Just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. And he gives here his example that he is also not free because his freedom is not given him, and that is taken away. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. And at last, Nelson Mandela says that the oppressed means the persons who are exploited, who are in the chains of slavery, they are, and the oppressor who keeps them, who keep them in prison, they are also alike. Both are alike means same, because they are robbed of their humanity, because they have lack of humanity. Okay, oppressor and oppressed, both. Oppressed are lack of humanity because they are not free. So if they are not free, they cannot serve the humanity. And the oppressors, they are also not free, because they have taken other people's freedom, and they are also not serving the humanity. So here Nelson Mandela says that both the oppressor and the oppressed, oppressor means, as I told you, the people who exploits and who snatch the rights of other people forcefully, and oppressed are the people whose rights are snatched away. Okay, so here both are alike, both are lack of humanity. So children, that's all for this chapter, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please go through again the chapter and try to learn it. Okay, thank you.